Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Season 3, episode, I don't know where I am right now, of Losing Our Marbles, a talk for two. Today, another guest we've had our eyes on for quite some time. They've actually beaten us to the punch in a couple situations in the marbles world. So we'll be talking about that later. Let's now introduce champion of Warrior Wednesday himself, FinalRossBattle!
Ooh, welcome to Record Hunters! Okay, all right.
Not quite.
It's not Monday, folks. Thanks for having me, Shan.
Hi, how you doing?
So good. How are you?
Doing great. Coil Twitch, thank you for the 100 bits. I forgot to turn my alerts off.
Hey,
We're just gonna leave them on. Whatever. Deal with it. How are you?
So good.
Good.
So good.
You look ready. You look like a freshly shaved monkey ready to be launched into orbit.
I got my afternoon cup of coffee and
nice.
just ready to shoot the breeze.
What is the pre-stream ritual for FinalRossBattle? Because he's a man who can bring the hype. He's no spring chicken in the streamer game.
So awkwardly enough, I'm a teacher by day, so I teach all the way up until 3 p.m., which is when I go live, usually every weekday. So it's like my pre-stream ritual is usually an assortment of scrambling around and closing all of the tabs. I'm teaching virtually, so it's like I have 10 different tabs of like work stuff, and I just happily close all of that. And I use OBS and that kind of stuff for my teaching. So I generally restart that because otherwise things get a little clunky after a while on OBS. But so really pre-stream, not a super fun process. Just close all of the things I feel like not worrying about for the rest of the day and fire up the stream and hope people show up.
I mean, being on camera in front of people is a good way to get ready to be on camera in front of people. So,
That's true.
Fair enough.
That's true. I have told, especially at the beginning of the school year, people were like, oh man, teaching virtually, it's so weird. And I'm like, actually, I talk to my computer for a few hours every day.
Nothing out of the ordinary.
Exactly.
Just another
no
day
response,
in the office.
Totally fine. Yeah.
I hear you.
What's your pre-stream looking like?
It's a little over the place. Depends on the day. Some days I get home at a reasonable time. Other times I don't. Sometimes I stream in the afternoon. Sometimes I don't. So the pre-big events like Record Hunters or my 7 o'clock streams, that's just like it's like a self check-in, right? It's like, hey, all those things that you like.
There is a lot about.
Yeah,
there's a lot of things. Like, I feel like for people that don't stream, they maybe think that, you just kind of press a button and it happens.
Right. And it works sometimes. Sometimes you're like, this is the worst day ever. But the moment you click the button, you're like, this is a good day. Right.
I mean, it's sort of, once you've prepared the space, then being in it is very natural.
Yep. So it really depends largely on the day, but there's usually a moment of reflection like, hey, stop thinking about these things. We got a job to do. kind of a situation.
We got merbs to roll.
Yep. So, and for me, it's really easy too, because as diverse as I tried to be on my streams, the presentation is always kind of the same. That might not make sense to people who watch all my stuff. Like, no, that's not true.
Like, I've never walked in and been the same.
Right, exactly. But at least how I view it as a streamer, the presentation is the same every time.
Yeah.
It's latching on to the moment at hand and guiding it through.
There you go. Bingo.
Even though it's never the same situation, it's the same approach.
The same defining qualities.
Yeah. So,
I feel that. I mean, but you said this morning your pre-stream was stay up all night, right?
Yes, I went to bed at 10. I think I dozed off around 1.
Nice.
My cat threw up at 2, so that was fun. and then I just
Which is purely marbles related. The cat was being nervous with you.
And then I just stirred until about 7, and I dozed off again, and then my alarm went off 7:45. So
yikes. Yeah,
probably,
like I said,
2 hours of sleep, maybe.
So.
2 hours of sleep. It's a good day.
You crushed it. Oh, and good thing you don't have much going on today.
Yeah, it's fine.
Everything's fine.
Exclamation point T in chat, by the way, if we gotta put this perspective in on that one.
Oh man, that's funny though. I definitely have had some. I don't know that I've had a like totally sleepless night in a while, but I definitely have had. I do more of the I get to sleep really easily, and then if something wakes me in the middle of the night, I just like have to think about that for somewhere between 0 minutes and like 120 minutes. But then I'm usually able to get back to sleep. It's not like I'm just laying there waiting, like trying my hardest to get back into the REM cycles.
I hear you.
Exorbitant amount of caffeine.
I have the issue where
wait, I get
cheers.
We got Yahtzee.
Oh yeah, all right.
God.
Well done, sir. Well done.
You know, it's my first time.
I have the unfortunate condition where if I have any regularity at all, I'll wake up at the same time every day, regardless of what happens. So like I could fall asleep at 4:00 in the morning, and it's like 8:30 I'm up.
Yep.
Sorry, it's that time of day. Get going.
Right. So, it's waking up time. It's not about how much rest you got.
I don't care about any duration of sleep. It's just you sleep until this time and then you wake up.
And that's, I mean, a problem with teaching is that it is so regimented, especially start times and things like that. It's like I literally wake up the same minute of the day every day.
Yep.
And then the weekends come around and I stay up 2, 3, 4 hours later than I would otherwise, and I still wake up at the same minute of the day.
It's brutal.
Yep. Keeps me. I usually wake up and go do like productive, fun things though, like those things that otherwise don't really make your schedule.
I hear you.
So it's
kind of going into what Spoo's getting into actually. How is the difference between teaching and streaming? Like, are they completely isolated? Are they mutations of one another? Did one come first?
Well, I definitely was streaming before I ever had to virtually teach anything. So I've been teaching for 6 years. This is my first year doing any sort of virtual work. How are they? I'd say, well, it's funny because I teach high schoolers, like 9th graders, 10th graders, 13, 14 years old, which again overlaps so heavily with the Twitch audience. Not necessarily the Marbles audience, but like the Twitch audience itself.
Yeah.
And I take in a lot of Twitch myself, so I feel like I have a basis of what they are expecting in terms of their media intake,
right?
Like of what's entertaining or what will at least hold my attention, or ways to interact. And so I definitely carry some of those things into teaching. The main difference with my exact specific experience this year is that instead of Twitch chat being like, oh my God, notice me, I'm over here, like, hey, notice me, most students are more like, please forget that I'm here.
Right. Never
call on me. I'm potentially not even at my keyboard. I have all my things on, but I'm not like on, So
yeah.
I feel like that is the starkest difference, is that I can use the same exact hammy lines or the same exact animated arms, and I get my little microphone out and I'm just talking to these people. And instead of Twitch chat exploding with if I put more in, they come back. It's like I am just pouring my soul in a single-sided phone call most of the time. So it is similar, and I do feel like I have a leg up on some boomers that just have no idea what
you have your thumb on the pulse of the young kids.
It's true.
You know what's hip.
I'm hip to the vibes. Yeah. And I do think, I don't have any data to support this, but I do think that probably interaction in my classes is probably higher than interaction in those other classes where
you're the
there's
cool
even less.
teacher.
Right.
Mr. Ross, he gets it.
That's right. He knows. He understands.
He's got a TikTok.
Yeah. I actually have a kid who, well, there's a lot of kids in my class that are building their first PCs, and they're or at least that's an idea that they have. They don't actually have the money. Right. Right. They put it together on Part Picker, okay? It's not like they actually built it.
Right.
But I got to commiserate all semester long with this same student. He would come in every day and ask me if I found a new graphics card yet, because I've been shopping for a graphics card for months now. And that was like our little connection. I'd be like, nope, dude, still sold out globally. He'd be like, well, they got one on Amazon for $9.50. And I'm like, yeah, that's a $300 markup on a $650
I don't need
piece.
it that bad.
No. So that part's kind of cool. And there have been other years. So when I don't have to virtually teach, there have been other years that I tell them straight up that I stream on Twitch.
Right.
This year it's a little bit too close to home when it's like because if they were to find me, I would just have to like rebrand and hide in a hermit hole for a while and like you totally remake myself. I don't, go Dr. Disrespect and put some glasses on and a wig or something.
Turn the camera off.
Oh yeah. I mean, there's been a few times when because I use OBS, like I said, for my teaching stuff, and I'll have my FinalRossBattle stinger still on, and I'll like switch pages, and it'll be like whoop whoop FinalRossBattle. I'm like, nothing to see here, folks. Nothing to see here.
Some high production value coming out of Mr. Ross's teaching. Dang.
Yeah, I mean it was funny because the first couple days they're like, man, this guy's like a whole Twitch streamer, like just because I had overlays and I had some interactive things on there.
Right.
And I was like, oh, I don't even know what that is. Just kind of really play dumb for a while. Eventually they figure out like, you're a little bit too savvy for this just to be like happenstance. That
Makes sense. You should tell them you stream on Facebook, then they'll stop asking questions.
Well, I generally tell them that I only stream Fortnite, and that way they will never look through all 10,000 channels of Fortnite.
Right.
Like,
that's good.
Never in my life will I ever be like, yeah, I stream marbles on the stream. They'll be like, yeah, I could find you in the category, like in a like a snap.
Oh, is this you featured on the main page every Wednesday?
Yeah, that's definitely not me. It's FinalRossBattle. It must be a different Ross, obviously. That looks
must be. Cool.
Yeah, that would be a shame, but
what is in a name?
What's in a name? Is that what you said?
What's in a name?
Generally, vowels and consonants. In terms of my Twitch name, my God-given Twitch name, of course. That was a process. I started streaming. Well, first off, have you ever had any other Twitch handles?
The Shenaniganry.
Is that a alongside this account or
I rebranded into this account.
Okay.
Because the first words out of my mouth every time I had to tell someone I streamed was, and let me spell that for you. And I was like, this is not a good step forward.
Yeah. I started out streaming Super Smash Brothers.
Nice.
And so my original account, which I thought was brilliant, was that a whole 365-ish days prior to the dropping of Super Smash Bros. Wii U, I made that my Twitch handle. And I was like, dude, I'm going to be the central hub for this game. Like, everyone's going to come through because I have the game's title. Like, oh my God. And then the game dropped, and, every big streamer that cares about cartoony violence was like, let's play Smash Brothers on release weekend. And nobody came through. Didn't really accumulate more than the normal. But then I was like super pigeonholed into just playing that game, and people would be so mad if I played something else. Yeah, exactly. So then for months I was like thinking about a new name, and there was the Twitch account Purge, where they were purging all these old accounts.
Yeah.
And so twitch.tv/Ross was available. Like it was inactive and it was going to be purged. And like every once in a while I'd check in on it. And I was like, this is going to be the best day ever. I won't, again, like you said, I won't ever have to spell it out. It'll look good on a coffee mug, like whatever it is. And then the next time I looked, I'm like, wait a minute, this account's active now. It had been picked up by a Twitch staff named Ross. So it is now an account that I will never be getting.
Yep.
Twitch.tv/Ross, forevermore gone. And then I thought about variants. I think R0, I think the closest I could have got was like R055. And then I was like, I can see it, but that's because my name is Ross.
Yeah.
Like if you saw a marble rolling down the track with R055, you wouldn't initially be like, oh, it's Ross. Like
it's R55.
Exactly. Row 55, I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
So then we decided, myself, the play on Final Boss Battle was a thing.
It's a good one. It's a good one.
Yeah, I think it's doing me well. I don't know that it's. I've had people say in critique that potentially the energy and vibe of my channel and the things that I enjoy doing on there are not necessarily as like savage as like a boss battle. Like I'm not like doing Destiny raids or something where like there's actually a boss that we're going up against. Like
100%ing Dark Souls.
Exactly. There's no boss at all on my stream. But I think I'll stick with it for a while. If it gets burned out.
But you're not. But it's not a boss battle. It's a Ross battle.
Exactly.
It's
and I do think that
it's
there are
55 marbles on a battle royale map killing each other.
Right.
That's what a Ross battle is.
Right. It's totally different than a traditional boss battle, of course.
Yeah.
But yeah, I also do appreciate. And this might come out terribly, but that's just the way it works here. Is that I think there is a tier, a level of the population, especially the Twitch population, that understand that it is a play on boss battle. And there is a tier, we'll call them subhumans, that don't necessarily understand that it was supposed to be a play on words, and that like it actually has nothing to do with me battling. It's just purely a play on the word. Anyway,
right.
So when I have to explain it, like I already know a certain something about this person that I have to explain it to.
They don't get it.
No.
We will never be real friends.
Right. We can only get so close.
You have any questions to throw my way on these related topics?
Well, I mean, I don't know a single thing about your previous stream. What was was the vibe the same, or was that did you
my
do a
gamer
rebranding?
tag.
Okay.
I had a very original one that was a play on my last name when I was doing StarCraft 1.
Ooh.
And then as I grew older, I realized making a play on your last name on the internet is not the best of moves.
Stranger Danger 101.
So I instead changed it to The Shenanigans. And that's my Steam name. That's my Twitch name.
Your MySpace name.
Minecraft, all that stuff, yeah. So there's The Shenanigans. And there's a bunch of shenanigans roaming around the internet. So it's hard to lock in one name across all platforms.
True.
So the shenaniganery was open because no one on any level of intelligence would ever choose that name. And I was using that for a while, and that was my Hearthstone, StarCraft 2, etc., 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 Minecraft career. And then, sorry, I'm getting congratulations in chats. Anyway, so then it was like, okay, we're getting a little more popular. We want to start putting some production value in. We're gonna link up the YouTube channel, get all the gears going, get some art going, make a brand. And I was trying to find like some good way to go. Shenanigans TV was taken. The Shenanigans was taken. Everything was taken. And there were a couple people who called me Shen, or Shens for short. I was like, well, Shen TV would be good. But Shen TV is a little, but Shen's TV, like possessive Shen's TV,
Right.
kind of came out
The
nice.
TV of Shen.
And by luck, it was available on all platforms. So I snatched them all up, and
So
then
that was
I
an
rebranded.
automatic green light, or was there like was there another front runner, or was it just like as soon as
No,
that
I was
up,
just
you-
trying to find some variation of shenanigans that worked on all platforms. And Shen's TV was the first one that wasn't taken on all of them. So
There you go.
worked out.
Yeah, I mean, I suppose StarCraft, I forgot that was sort of your origin story. That doesn't
My
lend itself.
online origin story, yeah.
Well, yeah. I mean, the stream. That's where your stream started, right?
Yeah.
And what race did you play?
Zerg.
Zerg. You would be a Zerg,
Exactly, that would be a Zerg.
would
Creep
be a Zerg.
everywhere, eyes everywhere.
right?
Keep throwing things
Purple
at people
slime.
until they're overwhelmed. That is my MO.
Yeah, so I played a little bit of StarCraft. I never got good at any real-time strategies, but I feel like if I were to stream that now, it would just be a totally different ball game. I don't know that I could stream something that took that much of my attention.
Right.
Like
And that's the problem is games like StarCraft 2, you're doing 240 actions a minute. You're
not if you're me.
processing minimap and metas every 30 seconds.
Right?
And-
Got build orders popping in your head. Pow, pow,
Right.
pow, pow, pow,
So
going crazy.
you literally can't stream. You're just playing the game. So unless you have some ungodly skill that people actually like watching, it's literally just watching someone lose their brain
Yep.
as they
Just watching another VOD.
pour into a screen. It might as well be a YouTube video, yeah. So
Yeah. So was that was the defining moment? Was like
I
wanna
was
be more
looking around.
interactive, or-
I always do all the Blizzard games except for World of Warcraft because I know what would happen. So when Hearthstone came out, it was like, oh, I have 45 seconds
yeah.
to like read chat. And like, oh, the game ends after like 5 minutes and I can like talk while I build a deck.
And there's enough viewer audience. StarCraft. Right. I'm sure StarCraft is on its way down in terms of American viewer audience. Anyway, I don't know if what the global audience still looks like for that game, but
so that was kind of my initial dive into engaging as a streamer was Hearthstone.
Nice.
And then that's when fans started generating content. So the
OnlyFans.
Memento,
the movie.
the movie,
Yeah.
and it has on the little Polaroid, "Don't trust his lies."
Yeah.
Right? Someone swapped my picture in for because I'd always be like, okay guys, I got this, check this out, this is what I'm gonna do next turn, and then like
Yep.
not at all,
Not a chance.
not a chance. And they're like, yeah, every
So
time.
So good.
We
You
do
gotta
all that.
love it when the
How
community embraces you as if they're willing to put in time to create something in your honor or
Right.
name, that is so flattering, folks. All you folks out there, if you're listening, if you appreciate someone and you just want to make a cute little doodad for them, it really goes a long way.
It does. So
Yeah.
that was kind of my initial step into actually streaming instead of just it being a hobby. It was like I might be able to actually build something.
Right, as an entertainer and not a gamer.
Yeah,
Or
and it got to a
some
point where I was pretty much
combination.
done with Hearthstone. It was saturated. I wasn't at the top of the pile. I was like, I need to find a new game. And I was able to find Marbles end of December 2018.
Merbs.
And it looked like it was wide open. It was season 6. I started season 7 January 1st, 2019. And went for it for 5 months. Just cranked races with high-speed commentary. Made a big splash. Finally met up with Pixel. We talked. And now look at me, 19 months
And look
later.
at me now. That's exciting.
It is exciting. It's crazy.
Yeah, I mean that's sort of. I mean, so with Super Smash Brothers, you can sort of be. I mean, there's again lots of actions per minute.
Right.
You got to be actually paying attention full time, but the matches are 7 minutes long.
Yeah,
You know,
it's short. Short
So
bursts.
then you either are really excited about your performance, or you have things to talk about that you need to improve upon for next time. So
Mhm.
I think
even
that did
even
sort of set the
between
stage.
deaths, right? You get that 5 second check chat real quick while I respond.
You're floating on the little
Yeah.
spawn cloud, just cursing at what should have happened. But
Oh yeah, speaking, you want to see a good gift?
oh, I'm ready.
Since Lug is
Cap,
here.
I'll make you a cute little doodad. Don't you worry. Ooh,
Streamer mat that Lug made me.
Dang.
That's not a little gift. That's a big gift.
Right? You
That's a
could
big
do
gift.
full like 3-foot swipes with that thing.
Yeah.
Just really get
So-
wild with it.
As soon as I have my own place, that's the first thing I'm putting up. It's my desk,
Hot.
that on it, and then the computer on top of it.
Game over.
That's
No
it.
more tripping over mouse pads and
Nope.
whatever else. That's awesome.
Yep.
Date's awesome. But yeah,
So yeah, it's good stuff.
Merbs.
Cool. Where do we go from here?
Where do we go from here?
Marble Fest.
Merbs.
That's going on right now.
Yeah.
What'd you think?
So I slept terribly last night. Woke up in time to see it from the beginning. So I got all of Pixel, all of you, and I'm just sort of casually watching through the day. Yeah, it's been awesome so far. I love Marble Fest as an event. Like I
Yes.
just love the way that it works. I love
great.
the time frames are only 2 hours. I love that everybody has the freedom to do whatever the heck they want.
Well,
We'll get into that later. Everybody can choose to
I was
some
hogtied. I tell you, hogtied.
Everyone to some extent has the freedom to be at least themselves. It's not like
I
there's
definitely
not
made it
a-
my own for sure.
there you go. And so I just really like it. The exclusive ball is
Yep.
really drives it home, and the fact that people are willing to stay up for 2 days straight playing marbles, I think goes to show that like between supporting all of their favorite community members to exclusive ball skin to as many 400 person races as you can fit into 48 hours pretty
Right.
much. So yeah, it's kind of wild, and I like that it's end of season because then even nobody can sit back. Like if you don't play Marble Fest, your rank could drop
Gone.
rank like a
Outta
stone.
here.
Yeah.
Out of here. It's like missing a tilt tournament. It's like, oh, well, there
Right.
goes 4,000 points. You're gone.
And there's
Sorry.
all these people hounding in the chat like, you already won this ball, like why are you racing? And it's like, because if I don't race here, I'm missing out on thousands of leaderboard
Yeah.
points.
I think every first place was over 100 points on mine.
Crazy.
It's like
Crazy.
That's big points. Big points.
Yeah, so I love it, and I really love. I mean, I have I feel like I have an appreciation for your maps and your style that maybe hopefully mimics sort of the underlying creation aspect of like I want it to be interactive, I want it to be fun, I want every second of the race to be an event instead of just like I'm going to post up down here at the finish line and eventually 10 balls are going to fall in the bucket and that's going to be like the exciting part of the race. I think from start to finish, I enjoy that sort of, I can see it as your thought process, of I don't want any twist and turns in this map that are just there for twist and turniness. Like everything's pretty intentional. And I think, like, I don't know if you saw me in the chat, but I said, I cannot wait to run this exact GP like on my stream because it's going like all of them were so different but like so the essence was the same throughout. So
Yes, unpredictable. They're all
exactly
unpredictable. That's what I like.
exactly.
So let's go for it. That was the kind of thing. I was trying to figure out how do you tie it all together because there's got to be a kink in the point structure. Why does my phone keep ringing? Anyway, there's got to be like a kink in the point structure so it's not monotonous. So I had the negative point and the 10 tier structure so that just winning doesn't get you there.
Yeah,
It's who got negatives and who got those 1s and 2 pickups on the bigger races
I loved it. And
to
it's funny
push you past the even 100s and even 10s.
the amount of backlash you were receiving for your -1 points. Like I feel like at the end we could see that those -1s, +1s, +4s,
They
like,
made all
those
the
were
difference.
adding up. Right.
They made all the difference.
But as soon as you announced that there was going to be any sort of negative points, there's like, check, what the.
I'm gonna have to watch the VOD back.
People are like, what?
I just ignore chat.
Oh my gosh.
I was telling my stream beforehand too, all day yesterday, the day before. I was like, I am trying to piss off as many people as possible with this.
So funny.
I want complaints to Pixel. I want petitions like never let Shen host one ever again. Like I want them to be miserable, absolutely miserable. And you know why they're miserable? This is what I live by. I believe in sandcastles. Do you believe in sandcastles?
I do.
Okay. So when you build a sandcastle, you need to build it with it falling apart in mind, right? If you just like make a mound of sand and you just make one tower, then a wave's going to hit it, it's going to fall over, blah. But if you like put a wall, if you put some arches, some flying buttresses, some little parapets, maybe you do a spiral. And then the water flows into the spiral and starts eating away from the inside and starts collapsing in on itself. When you start building with the idea in mind that it's going to fall apart, you make different decisions that you wouldn't normally make. And it creates some very interesting things that you can both appreciate while you're building it, once it's built, and while it's being destroyed. So there's no moment in the process that's not enjoyable. Bridge
You're
with
no
me
longer looking just for
metaphor.
the point A to point B.
Yes.
You know, it's not always the most efficient route, but it's like because of these underlying anticipated results.
Right. So bridge with me this metaphor, if you will.
I'm ready to bridge.
Most people are living in tiny little rooms, closed off from reality. Is that fair? Thank you for helping with the hot water. It's very heavy. Hope you don't mind I put it in your lap. It's trying to keep you warm.
I'll get over it.
Okay.
So most people are living in tiny rooms.
They're living in tiny rooms, closed off from reality. And they're not going to leave. They're not going to leave. You can like try to forcefully smash it down, but then they're just going to run away, right? And they'll go hide in another room. What I like to do is adjacent to their room, I will build a similarly looking sandcastle that's just a little better. And I'll knock on the door. They'll open it and be like, hey, nice room you got there. Like, thanks. I've been working on it for years. It's like, what do you think of this room? They're like, oh, that's cool. What did you do with the ceiling? It's like, come on in. Come take a look. And they come and they feel at home because it's similar to the box they've been living in their whole lives. But it is a little different. And I'm like, well, if you like it, stay as long as you want. I'm going to go build another one. You can come with me or you can stay here. Like, I'll stay here. I'm fine. You do. I'm fine. And then they kind of forget about their room. They close the door. They stay in this thing. And then it crumbles. And it falls apart. And suddenly they're not in a room anymore. And they're forced to just look around and be like, oh, dang. I've been missing out. I got nothing. I put everything in that room and I'm not in that room anymore. Now I got nothing. I got to start over. There's so much out here that I've just been ignoring. Maybe I should start like living life and not just being stuck in my tiny little world. And
then it all happens again. You knock
and then
on
you
the
just
door
yeah,
again
and then I'm like, oh hey, what happened? Oh, it fell apart. Well, I just finished building another one. You want to go check it out, right? So
yep.
It's this idea of, I have a lot of interior demons, if you will, of like not trying to manipulate people and doing things for the right reasons. And the way I get through that for me personally is by like harnessing the evil to create good, as dangerous as that sounds. And it's like if I can manipulate people to get them to a better place, then it's okay that I do it.
Right.
And this tournament is that idea. It's like negative point structure, and they go, ha! Right?
Pitchforks and torches.
Right. And they should react like that because I'm tapping on the door, I'm tearing the wall down.
Right.
But now the door's open. And they're like, what? How? That's not how life works. That's not how a Marble Fest is structured. What are you doing? And they're forced to ask questions. They're forced to stick around and like figure it out. Like, how is this possible? And then they start looking and they're like, oh, wait a minute. Okay, so increasing death rate as the maps go on. The points are harder to get, but they're still high points. Everyone's getting the same points, but these little things are causing the differences between the points. And it starts to click. They're like, oh,
Oh,
Oh, right. And
this
then
guy's really thought about this.
and then when they go to do their own event, they're like, I kind of like that idea. Maybe I'll do my own version of it, right? Because
Yep.
I think, to be fair, the negative point structure initially came from Deathlook.
Mm-hmm.
He did the plus minus and absolute value, which I liked, but I kind of felt like it really just creates two leaderboards,
Right.
right?
There are people that are very high and very low on the leaderboard.
Right. It doesn't have that. It does have a balancing mechanic, but it's really the same idea of just you either get higher on the leaderboard or lower.
Mm-hmm.
But with the plus minus making the difference and your position on the leaderboard being a marginal difference, so like 1 through 9 all get the same, 11 through 19 all get the same points, then it kind of makes it more of a game and less of just how high you place each time.
Right, and then it comes down to like you said, you don't have to win any races. I mean,
Right.
you have to win. On average, you have to place better than others, right? But that's just how
Right.
races work.
And
but in terms of
if
the
you're
places
ahead
that
enough, it's not worth
Right.
risking getting that negative 10. Right? So,
yeah,
like I said, second, third, and fourth place, 11 out of 12. And there was another one who was 10 out of 12 that placed top 25.
it's because they had the big brain to stop
Because,
folks.
because they didn't need to risk it to take the position.
Yeah.
So,
It was really fun. Like I said, I really love the maps. I love the points. I love that people were. What did you think about your position in the day?
it was good because I get to kind of set the pace because Pixel's always going to do Pixel's thing, right?
Yeah,
I wouldn't say he's hype, but he's very good,
right.
right? So I was like, okay, so he's going to kind of,
He'll give you everything you need.
he takes the icebreaker and then I need to deliver, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because everyone's waking up, they're groggy, they're getting their rhythm going, they're opening up their tabs, they're getting their own streams going, whatever, right? So I'm like the first real wake up call. So it's good to just kind of attack it.
Yeah, I just wonder like what the crowd reception would have been like if you were 5 o'clock tonight or whatever. Like once people have potentially tried for a few splits to grab this ball and or they're just been racing all day for 12 hours already, and then it's like, well, here comes Shin. He's gonna
Right.
He's
as
gonna make
a
me
mix
think,
up, it would probably be good. Like
Yeah.
you would want to strategically position me, so you'd want like the 2 before and the 2 after to kind of do normal tournament formats,
Right.
so that I'd be like, oh my god, whew, that was different. Okay, back to what we were doing.
Right. I can do this for another 12. I can do this for another 18
Right.
hours.
It's like, thank God we're going back to a normal format. Phew. Like, I'm looking forward to those next 3 tournaments now.
Oh man.
Right. So
Yeah.
if I was positioned properly in the middle of the day between more normal tournaments, I think it'd be fine.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
going first, it's kind of nice because it is that kind of creative green light. Just like, well, no one has any expectations, so
Right. They're like, this is what the entire fest. is
I
gonna
feel
be
sorry
like.
for the
You're
couple
like,
people that have to go after me. But that's
Yeah.
about it.
Right. Yeah. And that's, I mean, again, thank God they're only 2-hour slots because
Yeah.
I feel like I only stream for 2-hour chunks every day. Like that's just my regular time frame. So I don't have that sort of switch of like, I need to, like, I'm just full bore for 2 hours and then I can just cut it all off. Instead of people that have to make the adjustment, like, oh, I usually stream 10 hours, 30-second timers, and now I got to come down to I'm streaming 16 races in 2 hours.
Yeah.
Like, I don't have to make that adjustment, but I know that there are people that are like,
Oh, they were not happy. I had multiple people like, why is the timer so long? Can you start the race 3 minutes and 20 seconds? What are you doing? And I was like,
oh God.
I got
was
this
cracking
dialed
up.
down to the minute, and I did. I had 7 minutes at the end, which gave me enough time to reveal the winner. Jarumba wasn't even streaming yet, so I actually had to delay for 5 minutes. Like I was
I
actually
know.
ahead of schedule with a 3-minute and 20-second timer.
I was laughing so hard because I think it was after, I think it was only after 2 races somebody had, like, for the second time you were addressing the crowd and saying, listen folks, I can handle this. We are going to run 3+ minute timers and you're going to calm down. But you had already said something like, well, God, I mean, we're only in 17. We're only in what 12 minutes, 2 races, and you're like, yeah, we're ahead of schedule by 1 minute. And here I am like, well, Shin, just add 1 more minute to next race's timer and see how these people love that. How funny would it be if there was some sort of bot to like auto add time? Anytime someone said something about like start the race or why are the timers so long, it just like insta adds 20 seconds to the timer.
Yeah, I like doing that. The one thing I was wanting to do for a tournament, it wasn't going to work for this one, but for like a real tournament, what I want to do is just at an unannounced time, stop the tournament and make like, you find out the difference in points from the lowest to highest score. So let's say it's like 320, right? So then you make it first place 320, no points for anyone else in the point structure. You set the marble cap to 1 and you just sit there. And you wait for like a long time, like 14 minutes, just staring at the camera, just waiting. And without warning, you just go.
Are you like, guys, only 13:06 left to get in this race?
So it's just like, you have only one marble can join. You're just sitting at you're waiting to click the race button. And then you just without warning, after staring at the camera for like 14 minutes, you just click run. The map loads up. Everyone just goes crazy. And it's like, who got it?
Oh, man.
I would love to do that in a tournament.
If we thought we had heard the end of the equity talks about, I'm playing on mobile, you have to at least have 38-second timers or whatever. Or I'm doing what I'm washing my dishes. You know, you gotta whatever to cater to everybody. It's like, or you could recognize that this is a totally randomized game. And I'm only going to let 3 people in, and those are going to be the top 3 for the whole tournament. Like,
yep.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, I guess that was, in terms of randomness, there was that tournament. Was it Sleepy and AV did a random, all the point values were randomized, and then even the winning 10, like the does that make sense?
So is the top 10, but in a random order?
Well, the top 10 could have been 140th through 150th or whatever.
Okay.
Like that range. The 10 range was even picked randomly.
Sounds fun.
Yeah, and part of me was like, that sounds so fun. But then, like, the mathematics in me, I'm like, that sounds not very fun. Like, I'll just show, like, I don't... It would be hard to maintain my excitement because of the uncertainty.
Yeah, you need something that they can grab onto.
Right. So. Like if I'm just zombie dropping balls because I'm going to get randomly allotted points, then I can. That's as involved as I need to be.
You're going to mute that tab.
That's as involved as I need to be right there.
That tab's going to go in the mute pile.
Right, but I did like the choose the 10 segment randomly. That was pretty funny.
That's cool.
So what is next? What do you have other dreams? Do you have tourney dreams?
Well, we'll be testing some.
All of us?
We'll be testing some Tilt Tournament stuff Monday night.
That looks pretty dope. Yeah.
So there's that, and we'll go from there, one thing at a time. Right.
Coming soon to your ears and mine.
Speaking of things, Mr. Battle Royale. I have a hobby.
I wish that was my title.
I have a hobby of looking at marbles, seeing what isn't being done with what, and finding a way to popularize it. Worked with Bax and Desluck to try to help him get something going with builder competitions. Worked with Yusuf a little bit. Did my own one. Yusuf's doing another one this season. I might start doing more of those. I was looking at Battle Royale, and I was like, man, I don't have the time to crack this code. And like, as soon as I finished that sentence, I was like, oh, Final Ross Battle, Warrior Wednesdays. I was like, well. And like Pixel's like, oh my God, he's got this like whole spreadsheet script and like everything's going automated. It's like, what is going on? And like, I check it out and you're just there destroying it. So what was the code cracking like?
So I think my initial thought was, I wanted there to be more camaraderie in the chat in terms of, somebody finishes a race in first, and there's always 3 or 4 or 5 people that be like GG at FinalRossBattle or whatever, right? Yep. There's always people to congratulate the winner, but there's not necessarily that same. There's not time. I mean, there is time depending on what race you're running, but generally there's not a time or a place for people to like cheer for each other.
Right.
You're never really like rooting for someone because as soon as you're done saying like go go go, then they probably either got passed or something happened. It's just not. Anyway, the chat's just not working that way currently. And so I was thinking, how can I get these people to be more people-like to each other during the actual act of marbling? And so then I was like, oh my gosh, there's a team mode. So I like pulled up the existing team mode, and I was like, this is not what I want it to be. It's just not customizable enough. It doesn't have the actual features that I really want. It doesn't have, other than the names being the same color, which is actually a super huge, like if anyone out there could make the names on Battle Royales change color based on what team they are, that's the next one. That's the next step.
What if we could also can we choose the colors yet?
No, you can't choose the colors.
It'd be nice if we could choose the colors.
And you can't assign people to teams. You have to assign them to a role that gets them put on.
It would be nice to also put them where you want them. Yeah.
Sorry, side note. I just saw Twisted Indy in the chat. Twisted Indy, shout out to you, because when Pixel was talking today about the new open-close gates, I said, I pray that Twisted Indy makes another puzzle/riddle track, because I feel like there could be
they
some
open
sort of,
and the answers behind them.
No, like I'm thinking more of like a pins of a lock. So like if you unlock in exactly the right combination, then the balls can like all get through. You know what I'm saying? But some of the locks will close when you don't necessarily want them to. Anyway, challenge accepted. Did I accept the challenge or did he? Anyway, it was in the brain, but I'm not a track.
It's happening.
So
doesn't matter. It's happening.
So I was looking at the existing team mode, and it just had it had the right flavor, but it was not the right ingredients. It was just so I said, well, it would be easier since Battle Royale, there's more than one winner in the Battle Royale. There's more than one person to be cheering for. So I was like, oh, Battle Royale is cool. You can cheer for whoever has the most kills, or whoever, kills the right person, or whoever, there's just a lot of different facets you can sort of chase.
Kat's coming over to say hi. She just woke up. She needs her water.
No, I'm just kidding. I tried that out, and then I realized that so this was even prior to the copy to clipboard names export.
Yes.
So it was 100%. As much effort as I wanted to put into it, that's as far as I could stretch it.
Right.
And so I literally started typing in every name and documenting every score. And even beyond that, like it just was like so much work. I don't know if you were there during the first. It might have been the 1,000 coins. The 1,000 coins in December, Warrior Wednesday.
I think I was for the beginning of it, yeah.
So that just to sort of set the tone, we had done one round of Battle Royale. So we had assigned everyone to a team, and we had documented the scores for one round, and we were like 35 minutes into my 2-hour chunk. And somebody was like, Ross, I don't know how you're going to do this. And I was like, dudes, I don't know. I'm like sweating balls over here. Like, I don't, I'm a full-time number cruncher. And so I was like, well, something's got to give. And then I was thinking, a friend of mine, Super K, shout out to Super K. She races around the community, so she's around. She wrote me the original spreadsheet that auto-assigned people to teams, but I'd still have to document the scores.
Okay.
So that was like step one. And I feel like that was when people started being like, oh, this is actually like kind of cool in the way that it works. Mm-hmm. And the sort of the vibe of the channel, like as the that's one of the things. Again, the root of Warrior Wednesday was I wanted people to be people to each other in the chat. I want you to encourage each other. I want you to talk some shit. I want you to congratulate each other. I want you to be mad that someone kills you. Like the target feature is there for a reason, folks. So, you know, that it was sort of stirring this hopefully snowball self-perpetuating like movement towards we're just having a blast, and like I don't care if it takes Ross 15 minutes to document all the scores. Like I'm in the chat talking smack to somebody about the next round, you know, I'm gonna come kill you, whatever else. So I felt like that was enough of a victory for me to be like, all right, we are actually gonna dive into this and make it happen. And then Omega Boy, who was in the chat earlier, Omega Boy is the spreadsheet wizard that has the current iteration of the spreadsheet, where almost everything is, I mean, other than copy paste, and then I just have to type in the numbers from top to bottom: 666 555 44 333 333 2211. That's it.
Nice.
So shout outs to Omega Boy out there. Yeah, it's been great. It's been growing bigger and better, and the part that I love the most is that regardless of how many people are showing up each week, it's still the chat is still interacting in the way that was the whole basis of the thing, was the chat needs to interact. Like if you're here just to drop balls, that's fine. But if you're here to be a team player, if you're here to participate to the fullest, like this is what it looks like. And so I'm really glad that I don't have to coach that part of the chat. Like, hey guys, make sure you're doing this and definitely do this. Like, I don't want to have to say that, but the foundation of the event is driving people to say those things and whatever else. So super proud of the people, like especially the veterans who sort of carry that energy every week.
Yeah, it's good stuff.
What's your outside looking in opinion? How tell the story from a different angle?
Other than jealousy, is that what?
Hey, you can co-host anytime you want.
I'll hold you to that, sir.
All
I was
right.
actually got things I was going to talk about going forward, actually. So, Warrior Wednesday Battle Royale.
You were like, this needs work, and then it was like, boo.
I like the zombie idea better.
You like zombie tag better?
I like zombie tag better. I think that's the strongest idea.
There's a reason that we're doing zombie tag as a weekly event these days.
It's good.
It got your seal of approval after like 2 weeks. I remember
you came
in one day and you were like, what is this?
I stayed for the whole stream. I didn't play, but I just watched and sucked it all in. I was like, God damn it, Ross, you did it. You cracked the Battle Royale code.
Well, it's funny because for people that don't know, zombie tag, the way that works is that every person in the chat is a zombie chasing down one single human remaining on the planet. So there's one person that is predetermined. Everybody in the chat, as soon as the Marble Royale takes off, uses the target command to go kill that person.
Right.
A stopwatch is started. That person runs and stays alive as long as possible. When they die, I stop the stopwatch. The person that killed them, that lucky zombie, is now the runner for the next round, and that time is documented in a list, and then we give out prizes based on whoever stayed alive the longest.
Yep. Here's why that's such a good idea. The potential for chat involvement is through the roof. Because if people want a new record, they don't like who has the current record, they can just not target.
Right?
If people pick someone that they want to win, they can target people who target them. And if people don't like the person who's running currently, they can all target them.
See, this is top tier meta for zombie tag. Right. I don't know that this has been explored yet.
So this is why I see it as your best format for Battle Royales, because the potential for chat involvement for the entire thing, not just in a single round, but round to round, where they're trying to game the whole event to
Right.
get who they want to win to win.
I don't know that that power has been recognized yet, but I totally can see. I mean,
Yeah.
so Cap Dadbot was in the chat just a minute ago. He has come in and said, I'll gift a sub to people, if you don't kill me, if you target someone, he's
Right.
come in and tried to swing the crowd
Right.
of like, listen, we don't want this person in the top 3. Let me get 40 seconds and then you guys can all just come on over, like come smash me, whatever else.
Yeah.
And we haven't, then I feel like you could even go further and be like, well, if I'm the next runner, we haven't gone to the collusion level of bartering, non-tradable objects. Like if I'm the next runner, I will whatever, or if
Right.
you're the next runner, then I will whatever.
Yep. So I think there's a lot of potential there. I really do.
Hey, so I have now that I have a Wednesday Royale event and a Friday weekly Royale event, I have tossed around the idea of a season of exclusive Royale on the channel. I don't know if I'm ready to actually commit to that. It's a
I
scary,
keep toying with a 12-hour hundo season. Every day 12-hour stream, just tilting hundreds. Season 22 maybe. I don't know.
Yikes. The problem is, and I know there are a couple different camps around here, but the problem is there is a certain population of marblers that will not step foot in a channel they do not feel safe with their energy in.
Yeah.
And
I don't know what that's like. I don't know.
No. But I am not brave enough to be that person that says, FYE, you guys will be here if you want to be here, and you'll not be here if you don't want to be here. Mm-hmm. I don't even want to be that person, to be honest. Like, I want to cater to everyone. Mm-hmm. 10 minutes at the end of my stream isn't going to kill anybody. But if I have to do 4 Royales at the end of my stream, like that's, we're talking 20 minutes instead of 10 minutes easily.
Yep.
And I don't know if you guys have ever seen what happens when you clean up tiers at the end of the stream. It goes like, literally you go from your average viewership. It's the
most depressing end to a stream you could ever do.
You load up your final race and you've literally, as a streamer, you've been ramping up the energy. You're getting to the pinnacle and you're like, guys, it's the final race. And there's 7 people racing with you because those are the only sorry souls that need one more race left. And, it's right. I just can't commit to saying, oh, well, I'll always take care of your energy and we'll do 4 battle royales at the end. Like, what I could do is just say off the top, we are doing this many battle royales today.
Yep.
Like your tournament today.
That's
it's
right.
Like, hey, we're doing 12 races.
I cleaned up your energy already. 12 races. We did it.
If you did your job,
GGs.
I did my job.
GG's. We did it.
Yeah.
Well done, everyone.
But, I haven't committed because selfishly, I want to have, and this is going to sound so whatever, but selfishly, I want to have another epiphany idea for a Monday event. And that way I could just say, hey, 3 days a week, I play marbles, I do royales, that's it. But I don't have that dreamt up yet.
Well, new battle royale coming out.
I do know this. I don't know. So I've been watching Pixel as he devs it out this season. And like, I love the changes. I love everything that's coming, but it hasn't. And I realized that was step 1, right? Like it's a total re-go of Battle Royale. And so it has not necessarily sparked me into a brand new idea. I think it will further accentuate the excitement of Warrior Wednesday and the excitement of Zombie Tag Fridays. But it has not necessarily like pushed me into a brand new direction.
Yeah, I mean,
which is probably fine. I mean, 2 brand new events is probably enough for.
Yeah, Mega Boy is kind of in the same camp I am because the one format for Tilted I've been looking at is an elimination style. So like, what if you had a way to start with everyone, and then you just
Tetris 99 style. I mean,
or even just you take the winner from each battle royale and then you run a simulation at the end of the event with all the winners. Yeah. Who knows?
I like that.
But
Lightweight weight.
that's the trick with marbles, though, is anytime you want to do an elimination format, it's always going to be a good format. But the way marbles is structured, it's counterproductive.
Yep. And it's like you're never we're not big enough that we can just go ahead and exclude people. You know, like
Yeah.
you can't just be like, well, we started out with 100 balls. That was cool for one round. Now we're instantly down to 50 balls. Like if you
Yeah.
do like single elimination, you know, most streams out there, let's say average marbler has somewhere between 6 and 20 balls on their track.
Mm-hmm.
You can't afford to just drop half of those people,
Nope.
even if it's just for one race. Like
Yep.
you can't
Nope.
you can't say, "Hey guys, just hang out for a couple minutes." No.
Nope.
No. There's
Moving
a
on.
reason. There's a reason our attention spans are a little too low for this. But
Yeah.
have you seen anything new coming through the pike that you're like ready to pounce on, or that you want to lay into? Like
I
in
just
terms of
I
Battle
just
Royale?
want I want Tilted to take over. I
You
do.
want tilt takeover. What's it going to take?
We just need more tilters.
You think it's just a numbers game, huh?
We had Crump was top 10. I think they're down to 13 now.
For triple zeros?
And the only issue there is there's not enough people tilting. If there were as many people tilting as there were racing, racing would die.
Yeah.
No one would bother with races. They might drop in big streams for a chance at big points.
Yeah.
But having 30 tilt tabs open all day,
Brutal.
they would clean house. They'd clean house.
Yeah.
And it'd be one of those things where, Pixel would have to fix it, right? He'd have to start charging energy or really drop the points off or something. Like he'd have to change it. And that's
Yeah.
always the goal, right? Is
I mean, are you as a are you willing to go 100% tilt?
I'm thinking about it. Season 22. I'm really seriously thinking, like I got to still maintain my weekly stuff, like the tilt tournaments that are coming up and
Right.
the Record
'Cause
Hunters is still going, and I
yeah.
got my 1 hour track and all that stuff. So the question is, how much am I willing to forgo for a season?
Yeah.
And what do I have to keep maintaining? And then how do I balance a schedule around maintaining that and doing a full season push?
Yeah. I just don't have my attention span is too short for what the chat turns into on the majority of tilt streams. So like, I can't stand it when I'm tilting and I'm having a great time. I'm still being me, I'm still doing my thing, but the chat still has, when I roll into the bucket and I'm like, yeah, 100%, and I look down and it's still the last play command from 4 minutes ago. I'm like, I can't handle this. Like I said all day, I teach to kids that don't respond all day long. I pour my heart and soul into a performance, and then I look down and it's like, may as well have been nobody here, And recently I've been doing words on stream along with my tilt runs. Because then at least there's, because, there's as much as we know there's nothing you can do to make your ball roll any faster in a race. I think there is something about, oh my gosh, I need to dodge this, whatever. Like you're at least thinking that in your brain.
Yep.
But when someone's tilting, no, you're not looking out for your ball and being like, oh my gosh, I'm going to make it on the right side of that split. Like, I don't know. So I don't think I personally would be able to go full tilt if it remained the same sort of like, this is just my auxiliary activity. It's not necessarily the main event. But like you were saying, it could just flip flop totally and become where people hang out, like actually hang out.
And the better you are at tilting, the easier that is.
Yeah.
Because that's more levels and more time you can just not think about it and kind of focus on chat and keep it going. And especially in the grind, I would probably only grind it like 25 or 30 before the points per minute drops off.
Oh, yeah.
And so most of the time I would be able to engage chat like a normal stream. So it's all things I'm working on.
If you could add one tilt feature right now, what would you add?
I really still believe in mirrored tiles.
Okay.
Pixel thinks that's a Band-Aid. I don't.
Okay.
I think
He thinks it's a band-aid in terms of like instead of creating
he
something
thinks
new, we're
the
just gonna.
tiles should be interesting enough not to require mirroring to
Huh.
make it interesting. But the problem is, if it's a tile, you know what it is. Once you figure it out, the novelty's over.
Right.
But like squares, if you always had to check, like, oh wait, is this the left square or the right square? Oh, is this the
Right.
left octagon or the right octagon?
You
Oh,
can't just
is this
ram it
the
ram it into the side every time
right?
without
So
even thinking twice.
right, so it's not that it's the tiles that need improving. It's just
The
having to
variety.
calibrate which tile it is each time is what would make it more engaging and more interesting in the early runs, right?
Yeah.
And then you have the emergent property of that of how many more combinations are there, right? Because
Mm-hmm.
crescents into the trapezoid squeege is always annoying if you have like a bridge or something after the squeege. But
Mm-hmm.
what if the crescents are the other way? It's like, oh yeah, I got all the room in the world. This is great,
That's right. I
right?
can just back them on up.
Right. So, and like imagine you're going stairs into drawbridge, and you don't
Yikes.
realize that the walls on the drawbridge are the other way, and you go hard right as you pull back, and the marbles just go right off the board. You're like,
Oh
oh no,
god.
it was the other way, right? Like,
Yeah.
I think
Lots more
it has the
opportunity for
potential to
feels
add so much
bad.
more nuance to the game.
Yeah. I could see that.
I don't know.
I mean, so that would be the one feature you would add though, is just more tile
Currently, yeah.
variety.
Currently, obviously,
Okay.
we still need more tiles, especially in the later difficulties. But
Sure.
I think that's
Yeah.
the easiest big thing without requiring a deep dive into restructuring things.
Yeah. Yeah. I can't even think about it's because for me, tilted is not. I like tilted mode because it's a challenge for myself.
Yeah.
And that's sort of a flaw in when I stream tilted. It's like I forget that this is fun for other people that are watching. I forget that other people might find this interesting. Like I still do my thing,
Mm-hmm.
sure. I still commentate on what I'm doing, what sorts of things I'm looking out for. But like for me, it's a purely selfish, like I want to get to level 30. It's not
Yep.
about getting all of these
Yep.
people anywhere else. It's
Yep.
like I want to do this.
Yep.
So like I think if I was thinking about how I would want something more to be as a community excited about. Like when I'm tilting a level, other than finishing with 3 balls, like for some people that's all the excitement there is. You
Mm-hmm.
finish with 3 balls, I get to drop again
Yep.
on the next level. And so I think it would be cool. I can't even envision what sort of thing I'm looking for, but like just something else that we could all as a people that are there get behind and get excited about.
Mm-hmm.
But again, I have
Yeah.
no idea what that looks like. I think the idea of certain challenge like triggered tiles, like oh you have to get at least let's say you got to get all of them except for one or whatever into here. If there was some sort of task tile, like I think
Yeah.
that would be kind of cool.
We've talked about that. The issue there is
Is
the board
minimum
moves.
balls.
The board moves. So if you
Yeah.
have a range to target, that range is going to move with the board. And not only does
Mhm.
that drastically increase the strain on the PC, if it moves out of rotation over time,
Right.
then the tile's broken and you can't beat the level,
And it's done.
right? So
Yeah.
there's some unfortunate background hiccups to
Right. And that's why I'm
doing
like so
zone sensitive
dreamery
tiles.
about it, is because I have no
Yeah,
idea what the actual
it
limitation.
would be really nice to have like a little trigger or something, like you got to get a marble here so that the thing opens and then the marbles can go through. But
Mm-hmm.
maintaining that on a moving board in the current physics engine is too risky.
Yeah, I believe that.
So yeah,
I mean, we already have broken tiles, and we haven't.
yep.
Things still happen, and we're still doing things the exact same. So,
Well, I think we've reached, if not past time, the midstream mix-up. Yeah, it's a good one. Quarriers.
Quarriers, yeah.
Ooh.
Let's get some hype in the chat for Quarriers.
Now, I vaguely remember how to spell it. I think it's Quorriers, or is it ORS?
I think it may be Quarri. I don't know.
I don't know.
I don't know, folks.
It's
Couriers by WizKids Games.
It's a good one. It's a good one.
It is a good one.
What do you like about it? What don't you like about it?
So, for those that are fresh on the Couriers train, there's also there's an offshoot of the game called Dice Masters, which is essentially the same game, just with superhero characters, as well
Disney
as
backing.
right with different intellectual properties to make it more functional for people that like collecting cards and things like that. So it's a collectible card game and a tradable card game, a la Hearthstone or Magic the Gathering or whatever other collectible card game you like to play. The fun part, in my opinion, of this game is that instead of the variance of the game coming from what things do I draw off the top of the deck, the variance of the game, all of the information is public, and the variance of the game is introduced by rolling your character's dice, which sounds a little odd, but in order to utilize a character's ability, you have to roll them on, two sides of their die or three sides of their die to get them active in the field. So I like that because just generally anything can happen. I played some Hearthstone. I played some Keyforge, if you know Keyforge.
Yep.
It's another deck building game sort of thing.
I was on the Farrier bandwagon for a while.
Ooh. I just don't like drawing cards off the top of a deck and that determining what decisions I can make.
It hurts.
Right. Sometimes you just draw bad. Sometimes what you need's on the bottom of the stack, sometimes. Yep. So this game just puts it all out on the table, and you can purchase anything you want with your energies. You can spend it how you want. You can sort of, I think it is much more chess-like because again, in chess, all the information is right in front of you. Your stuff, your opponent's stuff, it's all there.
Yeah.
You just have to know what the most efficient reactions are and the most efficient actions. So that's why I like Dice Masters and Couriers as the predecessor.
Good stuff. I think your camera went out of focus a little bit. But, recalibrate.
Well,
I think for me,
mixed up after all.
With the deck building games,
better, worse?
Yeah, that's perfect.
Okay.
With the deck building games, I really like the idea of like that initial scramble. The trick is making sure there's not a meta in there that either lets you go off, as they say, or screws the other person, right?
Mm-hmm.
So like, how do you reward someone for building their deck properly as they go along, so it's not just the end result that's good, but it's steps along the way that are good, while at the same time not having it be such an advantage that once they're ahead, they're always ahead.
Right.
That's the trick for me.
And some of those games, like once you get established, your intermediate steps are just so linear. I just need to do this, and it has nothing to do with what my opponent's doing. I just need to do this.
Right.
And when it comes down to dice rolls, you could have the perfect purchase curve of what you're buying, and then as soon as you have to roll dice, you're like, well, I'm gonna have to deal with this result for sure.
Yeah. And I think the game that came closest to that is technically not a deck building game; it's more a resource management game. But if you just turn cards into resources, it really not that much of a difference.
You're just gathering things.
I can't remember the name of it, but it was like an ancient Egyptian thing. And you would roll for your resources. So you'd get like a wheat or a water barrel or metal ore or whatever.
Okay.
And it had like market cards. So there was a market card for the turn or the round. And you rolled for your resources that you gained that round. And there were things you could do to roll more dice. There were things you could do to re-roll dice. And that was the game. It was trying to get as many dice or re-roll dice as possible so that you had the resources you wanted so that you could do what you wanted on the card. And to that effect, you couldn't screw someone over because you couldn't affect their dice. And you couldn't really run away because the market changed every turn. So your plan that worked might not work the next turn.
Right. You might have had a home run last turn, but it's a totally different ballgame.
But you still have that basic goal of getting either more dice or more rerolls.
Mm-hmm.
And then there were like unlocks. So like once you reach so many achievements and like your population grows, and then you get access to new things you can do, right?
Right.
So there was like a way to save your progress as you went through it. So it wasn't just luck of the dice.
Fallback, some
Yeah.
lost stops.
So it's
there.
like maybe you get some bad turns in a row, but at least you're not losing any progress, right?
Right.
So
I dig that. Yeah, it's sort
I
of
like the game like that.
Yeah, it's just very like, again, action and reaction, and
Mm-hmm.
it's not sometimes about what you can do best for you on this exact moment. It's about, I see things happening or developing over the next couple turns, or so it's just I think it's just a decision rich game, and I think the essence of good players is that they just they put you in a position of choosing the lesser of two evils that
Yep.
they have sort of like cornered you into.
It'll never be ideal.
Right. So it's like, what is the best scramble play for me here,
Mm-hmm.
moving forward? And I think that Dice Masters does it well.
Yeah.
And it's a lot. I mean, it's a tricky game.
You
And
ever
if
played
anybody
Galaxy Truckers?
I have played Galaxy
Oh my
Trucker.
god, that might be my favorite board game. There's a
good.
problem because there's a huge learning curve. Like you have to
Yeah.
really baby people into that. You can't do any expansions. You got to pick through all the tiles and make sure it's only the basic ones.
Yeah.
But once you can find someone that gets hooked on it, oh my god, it is so much fun. Just
And it
whipping
never
that
plays
thing
the
out
same
and going for it.
twice. And it
Because you get through there and you're like, damn, we're good at this. It's like, oh, did you add the blue cards? I was like, oh no, I'm not adding the blue cards. I'm not ready for that.
Right, exactly.
Like it's like, right, all right, we're not good at this. My bad. We barely survived that last planet. Maybe we're not ready for the blue cards yet.
Right. Or you're just like, oh, I built the best ship.
Mm-hmm.
And then someone's like, well, did you remember like shields or whatever? And you're like, what? And then you
what?
get one poor draw, and it's like, now your ship is in half, and it's not the best ship.
Choose which half you're gonna keep, either the one with the energy on it or the one with the cargo on it.
Right. Oh, God.
It's always good.
Yeah.
Always good.
Again, forcing the decision making in board games is what really gets me going.
I agree.
It's a good game has allows you to make poor decisions.
Mm-hmm.
Because sometimes making a poor decision is the best decision in the long run, or in something like that. So,
great.
Yeah,
well,
Warriors, Dice Masters. If anybody wants to get into it, I stream Dice Masters every Tuesday night.
What a segue!
Every Tuesday night.
Good stuff.
9 p.m. Eastern time in the weekly Dice Arena.
Cool. Well, stream officially mixed up. Well done, sir. You wanna take this puppy for a spin?
Take this puppy for a spin.
Give it a go.
I mean, I just had some things, just because we've hung out, but we haven't really hung out,
Pachinko is the closest we've gotten, and I really like our Pachinko banter. I really do.
Half an hour.
I think there's
Pachinko.
What if? I know we were talking guest co-host Warrior Wednesday, but what if we did like a Pachinko tournament coverage?
Okay.
Like we both go on screen.
All right.
And we just we have a window of it'll be sometime, Thursday night or whatever. And then we just watch Pachinko, and then it's like, okay, it looks like a tournament's going to hit in 10 minutes. And then we get stream up and we get going, and then we give our commentary.
Yeah, I wonder, shooting off of that, I wonder if after a while, Pixel really likes established weekly events.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder if at some point there could be some sort of manual trigger of a tournament that could align with our spot.
Just by the way, Pachinko tournament right now.
Yeah, or even if I wonder what would happen, regardless of what sort of event you and I could put on, if Pixel just put in the Discord, hey, there's going to be a Pachinko tournament Wednesday night at 7:30 Eastern.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder how many people would show up for that.
A lot.
I think a lot,
especially if the prize was announced ahead of time as well.
Exactly. And I think in the purest form of pachinko, it would. I don't want to say that pachinko is like Tilted, but in the purest form of a skill-based aspect,
yep.
I think that there would be certain individuals that would rise to the top.
Yep.
And I think that just like any other competitive version of marbles, Tilted, I think it's fun to see all of those, the whole spectrum of people playing. But I think it's also like, you don't understand the skill until you've seen someone like really put on a show. You know?
And as far like as the event structure goes, right, it would not be hard to increase the time of the tournament from a background perspective.
Right.
And there's already a framework for multiple places payouts.
Yeah. And the payouts are automatic, so it's not like we have to take any screenshots.
Not that I am thinking out loud, hoping someone's watching this either now or on YouTube.
This and tweeting it out? Yeah.
Just saying, I know things about the structure of the game, having watched it been built, and I know there's certain frameworks in place that could be very easily utilized.
I think, you know, GJC's been saying for ages that he wishes he could have a GJC pachinko.
Yeah.
You know, he wants to be able to use his emotes to drop in just his pachinko.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's only live when he's live.
Right.
You know, he's the only one that I've heard bring it up. That's why I say it's his thing. But
I think he and I talked about that during my 24-hour pachinko stream too.
There you go. And that is so. I think that's so fun because
having a thing where you can like sign up to host your own pachinko.
Bingo. And I think that in terms of sort of tying back to Warrior Wednesday, is that pachinko is another game that I can see people bantering back and forth during the pachinko. Yeah. Like, it's not just going to be a play spam. Like, I think there's going to be somebody like, you know, somebody grabs that last 60 and flips the board, and there is just destruction of the chat after that. You know, everybody's going crazy. So, I mean, long story short, absolutely, I would love to host a pachinko something or other. I don't know if I can commit to another weekly event.
Yeah, maybe not weekly initially. We'll...
But if we wanted to hammer something out, I think we would put on a fine pachinko show.
We could just spend the whole time talking about Big Chungus. I mean, honestly,
you know, Beyblade Big Chungus.
Beyblade
Who would have
Big
ever thought?
Chungus. What else do you need?
Jeez, I mean, pachinko is good. Pachinko is good, and I think that with the right incentives, pachinko could be great.
Yeah.
Not that there's not incentive to play pachinko. I'm just saying, if there's a little bit added, I think if you just...
Honestly, I think it might be mostly just attention, right? Because the more people are playing pachinko, the more fun it is.
I agree. So when there's a stream of balls coming down that the first drops...
Oh.
And you're like, there's going to be 320s that hit literally in this wave of balls. Yeah. And you're clenching your cheeks because you don't know whether to drop or not. And you know, Shen told me once that the key to pachinko is not getting timed out.
That's right.
Nothing else matters. Nothing else matters in the whole game. Don't get timed out. But yeah, I think your 24-hour pachinko experiences, I think that you can attest that it is fun to drop between tournaments. Like that's fun. But like, we really only drop between tournaments to get to the next tournament.
Exactly.
Like, it's not, no one would be playing that otherwise.
There's the grinders. There's the people going for 250,000 points and whatever else.
Right.
There's the coin payouts, which helps.
You know, literally idle phone games where you don't do anything.
Exactly.
You know, there's people that are into everything, but
it's like a fidget toy. Just
right.
Something to hit, and I think something to hit Control V on every 30 seconds.
that's right. And I think that it can be great. And again, if I was maybe in charge, my first step would be just an announced tournament and just see what the show
scheduled.
What the
not to say they all are scheduled, but just to say we will have tournaments at these times.
There will be one that starts at this time.
Yeah.
Like, I think that would be kind of wild, because even the ones that pop up randomly, but if there's a prize that's like, you know, 5-stripe comes around or whatever, you hit somewhere between 30 and 60 droppers, depending on sort of the time of the day and what's there. And I just feel like if you dropped something like I mean, I haven't been paying attention today, but I don't know how many people are playing for the Snowflake Ball today, the Marble Fest Ball. I don't know how many people are there, but I imagine it's sort of around the clock sort of thing of 50 people playing. So, but yeah, speaking of unexplored facets of Marbles on Stream that we need to explode.
Yep.
I'm down. You just say when.
Any other collaborations you had in mind?
I mean, like I said, come on by for a Warrior Wednesday. We could definitely plan a little something. I have, full disclosure, I have a co-host lined up already.
Okay.
So I think until that happens, I'm not going to like open the door to another, not a consistent co-host, a 1 week co-host.
Right.
But you know, it's sort of like this podcast. You just invite who you think is fun to hang out with, and you just hang out with them for a couple hours. But yeah, you are definitely on the list of people that I think would add to that experience to an extent of, you know, a couple multipliers of
I'll have to make sure I have all of my metrics in order, like knowing exactly what all the power ups are and what they do. I'll make sure I get my field research done.
Pixel so kindly made them with like iconography this time.
Yeah.
You know. So. And I mean. Sorry, I get when I get sucked into the new battle royale, I'm like, holy, this is gonna be great. I said it would be cool, so let me bounce this off you, see what you think. Pixel was recording his voice lines for the battle royale, so he had the size up and the health and the top 10 situation or whatever. And I said, because I play, have you ever played Paladins? Yeah. So it's a class-based shooter. But they have announcer packs, just like StarCraft. They have announcer packs that you can purchase and put on your game. So, like, if I wanted the Shen announcer pack for my Battle Royale, it would be you saying, size up in whatever, you know, whatever inflection that you felt was very you. And he was like, oh man, if you send me the files right now, I'll do it. And it was sort of tongue in cheek because he knew that I wasn't about to produce these files and send them to him. But what do you think? What do you think about that level of customization for marbles? Waste of time or not waste of time?
There's always the ecosystem to consider, right? So.
In what way?
You don't want to give a machine gun to a monkey.
Okay. I don't want to give a machine gun to a monkey.
Nobody does.
But even if it was like, well, go ahead.
So
finish what you were saying.
Either you need to create something that you can literally trust anyone with. And this is one of my big philosophies in life is I have lines that I draw for myself in my real life.
Right.
And it's hard for some people to understand because we could be good friends. And I'll say, I don't go there. I'm like, what do you mean? It's like, well, I can't trust everyone with this, so I'm not going to trust anyone with this.
Fair.
Kind of a thing. Right?
Yeah.
And that's because of the other way to go with it is either you have to make sure whatever you've created you can trust anyone with, or you have to get into the elitist situation where now you're picking and choosing, right? Because the reason I'd say I can't trust everyone this, so I'm not going there, is because, well, if I say it's okay for me to talk about it with you, well, then what's the other person going to think? Right. Okay, now I'm going to have to talk about it with them. And then, oh, well, you told these two people, why didn't you tell me, right? And you get into the whole elitism thing. So, especially in a community like Marbles, elitism is very frowned upon and very dangerous.
That's fair.
So,
what about in a general, like just in terms of marble tailoring, I'm trying to think. Like, skins are exclusive to yourself, and your loadouts are exclusive to your stream.
Yeah. But
like,
they
I'm just
come from a pre-approved pool.
Right. But I was just thinking, like, what would the the next category of item
Right.
would be like something for
Like a sound pack.
right, or something to change the way that your game looks or sounds or whatever.
Right. It's a good idea.
Right, and now I'm just thinking about what that actually looks like in terms
But,
of being a general population type
Right.
thing. Because I totally get the elitism thing of like, well, eventually you just end up picking someone to do it.
Yeah.
And then there's 15 other someones that are like, why didn't I get picked to do
Yeah.
this? So I get that. I get that.
So, it's tricky.
I don't know how we got here, but
It's just, it's customization on a grand scale is, I'm going to use this erroneously, but never good. It's just never good. You need a perfect reason to do it in order to do it. If there is any debate, if there is any unaccounted for detail, if there's any uncertainty, don't do it. Don't do it.
Noted.
It's just the way the internet is,
Right. And there's always, I mean, with any hobby, with any game, with any whatever, it's like, oh, you own one of these, like you must be a whatever kind of player or whatever kind of person, or you're just, waving it in front of other people because I get that. That makes sense.
Yeah. So
yeah. I think that started out because we were talking about the icons that now are going to be over the power-ups that you won't have to learn them necessarily because there are now new voices and new icons for those different power-ups. There's still the erroneous speed boost that does nearly nothing for your marble, but it is good for a show. Like when somebody picks that up and like zips across the screen and you're like, reckless abandon, you good luck with that, I guess.
I'm glad he incorporated size, weight, and speed, because that's what I wanted for Battle Royale. Because when people were doing weighted Battle Royale, I was like, this is it. This is it. You got like the fucking tanks that are just like, and then you got like the ninjas that are like Dragon Ball Z-ing it around the
but
middle
then you
of the
saw what it was actually
atmosphere.
like, and you were like, this is terrible.
I was like, this is what it needs to be. So I'm glad he's incorporated that concept of you have the big slow guys and you got the small fast guys, because that's a really, it adds a lot more interest and viewer captivity.
Would you want that to be a feature that you could choose like a loadout?
I was hoping there'd be like 5 categories. So you'd have like fastest, no damage, and you'd have like biggest,
just the evasive ball,
all the damage, and then there'd be like a 1 slightly faster, less damage, 1 slightly bigger, more damage, and then the normal. But I think just having it being automated streamline the process, and then you can kind of hope for things to happen, which is still engaging,
right?
And then it's up
latch onto them when they do.
It's up to the streamer to make it exciting. Like, oh, we got the big size up, he's gonna go for it. The streamer can really push it, so it'll work.
Yeah, I'm excited. I mean, again, I'll be playing enough Royales that I hope at some point. And he said that the size up stacks up to 10 times.
Yes.
And I'm like,
but
in what universe?
It needs to go on to a long time for that to happen.
In what universe? But then,
imagine.
You got to remember, every 100 bits next season, automatic airdrop.
Yep.
And I don't know. I have not even thought about that part of the expansion because it feels anytime you're talking Twitch money with someone, it's always out of proportion. Like someone thinks that you're making like billions of dollars because they see 4 different 100 bits come through and you're like, yeah, Twitch takes about half of that. My taxes take the other half of that. And but it feels like now to talk about it, I feel like I would be like, hey guys, every 100 bits, there's an airdrop coming in. And I really want to see what this ball looks like when it's 10 times its original size.
Yeah.
But like the possibility is there.
Yeah.
Which is kind of crazy.
Sure is.
But I don't know how that will affect the actual execution.
I mean, that goes straight into my question.
Go on.
Money in marbles.
Money in marbles.
Yep.
Money in marbles. That's the whole pitch, right?
That's
You're not
literally all I have written down.
Money in marbles.
Number
Okay.
7, parenthesis, space, money, space, in space, marbles.
You know, I had things written down like, "Hey Shen, when you go to the zoo, what are you most excited about seeing?"
The butterflies.
There you go. And
going
we're
to
done.
the butterfly room.
And
Going to the butterfly room.
and we're done. Money in marbles. So maybe I'll just talk about money in streams first.
Sure.
Money in streams
However
first.
you want to take it.
I have been like Super Smash Brothers. There are people that like there's not a huge amount of people that are incorporating money into Super Smash Brothers.
Correct.
Other than the tournament organizers. Like
Right.
on a day-to-day basis, there's not a whole bunch of people that are like, "Hey, I do money matches all day, and if you want to come throw me $5, we'll play for $5 or whatever." Not a whole lot of that going on
Right.
because the skill gap is so high.
Yeah.
Same with StarCraft. Like you would never walk into a stream and know exactly what someone's capable of and be like, I'll play you for $20. Like that just
Right.
There's not enough people that are willing to do that.
You either know you're going to win or you know you're going to lose.
Exactly. And you're either the streamer who looks stupid for taking that game, or you're the guy who looks stupid for like bullying 12-year-olds for their $5.
Yeah.
So I think. So then I can sort of narrow my scape down to like money that is just purely incentivizing someone to come watch a stream because there's money there,
Right.
or because there is perceived fame in terms of how much money you have. If that makes, I think those are two different things, right? There are
Correct.
some people that are like, look at all these fancy objects I have behind me. I must be well off, and my stream must be super generous to me, and whatever else. Which, like, you do you, boo boo, but I don't know that's sustainable either. But then there's, I don't know. Shen, what do you think about money and marbles? I'm just curious what you might think about money and marbles.
It can be done.
Okay.
But should it be done?
So I think the basis is that as a random game, you are wagering just as if you were wagering on coin
Correct.
flips or something.
It is very much gambling if you structure it that way. I think the
Right.
most successful ones is when it's strictly giving back to the community.
Okay.
When it's people who donate and or, surplus from overreaching a sub goal or whatever for the month, and they take that extra money and they say, well, this is more than what I needed to make this month, so we'll just give it away to whoever. I think that's fine. I think that's actually very healthy behavior. I wish I had that problem where I surpassed my monetary goals and could
Right.
give back.
This is just money that I could not possibly spend anywhere else. Yeah.
So,
And you think, is the method of giving that away, does that make your opinion any different? Like if you just said, if it's a keyword giveaway in the chat and you said anybody that types in star in the chat, qualifies for this giveaway.
I
Or
don't
do you
think that's
it's-
giving back to the community. I think that's giving away money.
So you think as part of your community activity,
There would need to be some qualifying threshold.
okay,
There would need to be some regulated distribution to make sure it doesn't all go to one person, or if it does go to all one person, everyone has a fair chance of doing it. Whatever.
do you have different thoughts about straight cash as opposed to an object that's worth money?
I would never do straight cash.
Okay.
I say that now. you know, if I ever end up with 100,000 followers and going crazy every month, I might change my tune.
Right.
But
straight cash is what you would have. You wouldn't have
right,
an Xbox. You would have
exactly.
straight
So
cash.
I honestly always try to offer a novel prize, like making a map in their honor. Like CC Kinnison loves that squirrel map.
Yeah.
No one else has that squirrel map. That's
Right.
his. Right? He earned it. He treasures it. That's his. That's
Yep.
more
A
than
forever
$25
prize.
is ever going to buy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I don't, again, same situation. I don't have enough cash to give away.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, sure, we both make some money on Twitch. That is just an underlying fact.
Yeah.
But, you know, that, you know,
Divided by hours per month
exactly.
is below minimum wage.
Exactly. Yeah. Dollars per hour is pretty low. And I don't think I have an underlying issue with just giveaways in general.
Correct.
I just don't know that I would feel okay. Well, first off, I don't want to handle anybody else's money.
Correct.
Like, I don't want to be in charge. I don't want anybody to ever be like, you owe me this, or I owe you that, or whatever. I don't want any of that.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't want. So like, there was a streamer that I used to watch, Marble streamer, who literally ran their entire stream on viewer to viewer wagers, right? So you would just say, anybody up for a $10 wager, and then somebody would take your wager. That would be documented somewhere. And then at the end of the race, the streamer would just check the listings and say, well, you were ahead of this person, like take care of it.
Right.
But like, that sounds great. That sounds super fun. If there was a way that I was hands-free, like my hands were clean of that whole interaction.
Yeah.
So like, if there was a site where all of that could get plugged in and I could just facilitate the race and I could hype it up as much as I needed to, and I could say, holy, there's 50 bones on the line for this guy and whatever. Like, that would be awesome. But again, I don't want my blood on anyone's hands in terms of like being the middleman for your cash.
It'd have to be a cash forward thing where like you pay the money before the race starts. Everything gets check boxed before you click the start button. And
yeah. So like I appreciate marbles as an avenue to gamble. Mm-hmm. I just prefer to use, channel points or something where it's already taken care of for me. All I got to do is click yes or no.
Right.
But in terms of like having a problem with money in marbles, I don't think I do. What do you think? What do you think the slim margin is?
I can't argue from a business perspective, right? Because you could spend $200 advertising your channel, or you could have a $200 tournament.
Yeah,
$200 tournament is going to go a lot further than $200 in advertising. So I can't argue from a business perspective. However, if you are advertising your channel like that, that's what McDonald's does. That's what Coca-Cola does.
Right.
You want to be the
rollback prices.
Do you want to be the McDonald's and Coca-Cola of streamers? I don't.
Yeah.
I mean, if you do, then go for it. But I don't.
Yeah. I think, like you said, well, there's also like, I've seen tiny streams, and not that being a tiny stream is a bad thing, but I'm saying I've seen people overreach and do $100 tournament and they get 25 balls just because no one knows about it. They, otherwise they just think if I put this in my stream title, people are going to come flocking. And it's like, that is
I think there was a period of that. Honestly,
there is a period of
I think
that.
there's something Captain Dad about, and I talked about, I think last week, was that, before, when it was tournament structure and right around that season 17 boom when everyone exploded in, and it really did kind of have that feel of like pay to win, and a lot of us more creative marble streamers were like, well, we'll just have to It'll be over.
Wait it out.
They'll run out of money.
Which is funny because I came into marbles in the halfway through season 16.
Mm-hmm.
So I was on the front of the wave.
Yeah.
But like still in long enough to recognize that it was a wave. Like I wasn't being swept away. I was like, oh my God, the holy, everything's blowing up around here.
Yeah.
But I also was not veteran enough to understand the bigger picture at that point.
Mm-hmm.
Like I didn't understand that. Like it was seemingly that people that were playing marbles for any longer than like a month were all super successful. Like that's what it looked like from
right. You just got to buy your way in until you get your hooks
you're like,
in, and then you're good to go.
Everybody has.
Right.
Yeah, I would have 10 people on my track, and I'd be like, well, just like everybody else, if I just stream this for 2 months, I'll have 50 balls on the track. It's like it looked that way for a minute,
mm-hmm.
but that was not the way that worked.
Correct.
But I do think there was a time maybe where, maybe without even saying it, that was sort of the way it went.
There was a period where it was definitely more popular to be a money marble streamer. I think the community has realized that most of those events are just stressful and or annoying. Because either the streamer doesn't know what they're doing and they have way too many people to manage.
Right.
Or no one wins anything except for one person. And you just wasted 4 hours.
A lot of feels bad, yeah.
And then you never go back to
and
the
you probably,
stream again.
well, not saying you had a bad time, but you potentially were just there for 4 hours.
Right.
It wasn't
you don't go back to that
had
stream until they have another money tournament, right? So
right.
I think the community has learned not to buy into that as much. And I think streamers are now, with the new structure that Pixel's been putting into the community, that's not the direction he wants to go either. And you're not going to have community support going just that route. You can still go that route and get community support, but you can't just do that. You have to have something of value beyond money to offer the marbles community.
And I mean, I like the direction. I don't think, I don't know. Money just brings out the worst in some people, and even some people could. And if
that's what you're using to build your community, then congratulations, you just built your community with the worst of people.
Right, and that sort of takes me back to that wager stream. Mm-hmm. It was like you end up hating half the people in the chat because they took money from you.
Right.
And you're only there worse, to try to get it back from some other sucker.
Even worse, they welched, right? Like.
Yeah, exactly.
You're never talking to them ever again.
Yeah. So I just think that, I mean, even 1,500 coins on the line on a Wednesday, there's always somebody who comes in. Are you looking to see if that's somebody posting in the chat or something? There's always somebody who comes in and is like, how do I win the coins?
Yep.
And I'm like, you may as well just turn around. Like, this is, let me show you to some other people that you might fit in with a little better. But like, I cannot, for someone who goes through a lot of thought into how people are going to feel during this event, what sorts of emotions do I want to pull from the crowd? What sorts of interactions would I love to see textually,
Yeah.
And then for someone to be like, hey, in 2 hours, you just got to tell me what I need to do to get this coin. And I'm like, all you got to do is play the game, man.
I don't know if you saw, I think it was promo either 21 or 22. It was Bax and I. We have two explanations. We have the one where I ramble for 5 minutes and none of it makes sense about the actual detailed structure of how to do it. Yep. Or it's set a world record, get coins.
Yep.
Those are your two explanations.
And
one so simple you don't learn anything, and the other so complicated you don't understand any of it.
Yeah. I think it was last week you were explaining, somebody said, I mean, something to that extent. Hey, how do I win coins? And you said, we give out coins to the people we want to give out coins to.
Yeah.
It's like, if you got a problem with that, your only option is to leave. Like, if I'm going to give out coins to whoever I feel like giving out coins to.
Prizes will be distributed as we see fit. Deal with it.
Yeah. Hey, will I get these in the next 24 hours? It's like, prizes will be distributed as we see fit. You might not ever get these coins. Yikes.
So
But yeah, and I think that money beyond that would just be, I cannot possibly imagine being indebted to somebody through the internet. Like that is such a trusting relationship that is in such a distrusting portion of my life that I'm like, I can't handle your money over the internet. I don't want to hear about money.
And Papyrus, I would say we're not talking about DMP3. I'd say DMP3 is probably the one exception to the rule. Yes, they do have a kind of pay-to-win strategy on social media, but they are in a unique position where they are business-wise, and they are building a brand. It's the DNP3 brand, and they've done a lot to support the game, and they've done a lot to support the community and bring attention to the community.
I also appreciate that, like, DMP3, he's an entertainer. He's an entertainer.
He ground marbles. He won top 3 streamer. You can't say he's right. Like,
right. I mean,
he put in the work.
Even beyond that, like if you watch any of his Deal or No Deal streams, like, he's got the person on the Discord call. He is person to person.
Yeah.
It's not just like, I'm going to put up on this page, you've seen some YouTube videos where they're like, here's all my new subscribers from last week. And they just blast everybody's name like up on the screen. Like he's not necessarily in that same vein, but he's just using the entertainment to drum up enough interest.
Right.
That then he matches with the prizing. Like I think people would still show up even if he wasn't. I mean, that would be an interesting experiment, but I think people would still show up for his entertainment. I do think that the social media wise, it is 100% driven, towards the prizing. Like nobody's like, hey, retweet, I got 1,400 retweets because I'm entertaining. Like, I mean, that happens sometimes, right. But it's mostly when there's some things on the line, some things to gain. But
yeah, and that's kind of what I mean by the business aspect of it. It's like, he's building a brand, right? He's not just buying viewers. He has a budget. He has a business plan. He's executing and killing it.
He has an entire website built for the stream community to dump their entertainment values into. Like So yeah, I think DMP's laugh makes my day. Yeah, he has a great laugh.
He has a great laugh.
He has a great laugh.
I could actually use a recording on his laugh for a lot of moments on my tracks. I wish I had that cackle. Just you see a marble get stuck somewhere, just chink, key up that DMP3 laugh.
I think I just need a loop of him feeding the ducks.
Okay.
When he does the feeding the ducks, I wish I had a loop that was long enough that people didn't know that I had just ripped that off of someone else. I'd be like, guys, we're gonna feed the ducks, and I just put his video feed on because just the flocking and the bit interactions, it's genius. But yeah, I think I'm more against people who use money to be their only entertainment value.
Right.
I don't think I can't rag on anybody for incentivizing with money, but putting on a show. And again, maybe that money comes from putting on a good show. You put on a good show, people gift you whatever, and you just return it back, which is awesome. But I think
technically that's Broadway, right? That's
right.
That's what Broadway is the money and the entertainment going back and forth.
Right. You pay to go see a blockbuster because they've put $15 million into the production of the thing, right?
Yeah.
But I think in using money to sort of like plug a hole in your leaking bucket of entertainment is probably a bad idea.
I mean, I often get new people coming in for advice, and I won't talk to them publicly about it in stream. I'll talk to them in DMs because there's a lot of things I need to say that if people heard me say in a public setting would be very upset.
Sure.
But I've had people try to buy their way into the community, literally. Like, they say, I don't want to grind for 6 months with 10 viewers. I want to make a big splash, and I want to go for it. I'm like, okay, well, you can have a big event and get 300 people to show up. Can you do that every stream?
Right.
Can every stream week to week be that big? If
You're
so,
gonna,
great, go for it.
yeah, if
Otherwise,
you're
your
gonna
next
say, hey,
stream,
this is
4
me.
people are coming back.
Yeah.
But those 4 people might be the most important people in your stream career, because those are the 4 people that actually saw in you something worth watching.
Right.
And that's why they're back.
And they're willing to, at that point, they are willing to be there for the long haul and help you along the way and gather more of their people.
Because they want to see more of that thing that brought them back in the first place.
Right.
So you can make a big splash all you want, but there's only going to be 4 people that show up the next day. And
right.
I don't know how many people have had to try to have that talk with without, like, just laughing in their face.
Right.
It's like, I streamed. I was back in season 7. There were maybe like 1,000 people streaming this game. I went for 5 months every day, hard, before Pixel and I even knew each other existed. Like, you don't understand the grind, okay? Like, don't insult me with your bullshit.
Right. But that's the way, again, like, as a pseudo new marbler, right? That's the way it looks when you get here and you see that when you see that there are streams with more balls than less, right? You notice these things. Obviously, you look at the category and it's sorted right there for you. You see these things, and all of the streams, that was almost wrong. From the thumbnail photo, from the title, from the outside, 90% of those streams look the exact same.
Yep. And
you think to yourself, if I just make my thumbnail look like this, and if I just, whatever, if I just XYZ, whatever the criteria you think it is, then I will have that success. Which doesn't account, like you said, for any of the time that you've put in, any of the relationship that you've built, any of the, co-founders. I wish they would call founders like co-founders, because it's just like, those are the people, which is kind of cool. Like, they help you co-found what you have.
Yeah.
But from the outside, it definitely seems like, well, if I just play marbles, people will show up. And it's like,
I mean, they will, but you're not going to get anywhere.
Right.
You're not going to get anywhere. All right, so here's an experiment for anyone to try if you're trying to really figure out exactly what we're talking about and touching on here. Open up the Marbles tab. Sort it from lowest to highest viewers.
Okay.
Right-click, open in tab, each thumbnail you want to check out as a stream. You don't have to actually check out the stream. Just do right-click, open in new tab, whatever. Just go down the list. And then...
And these are streams that you are interested in by their title or
just
thumbnail.
by the category, yeah. Like, you sort the category lowest to highest views. You look at each stream and you say, I want to check that one out. Right-click, open tab. Looks boring, looks boring. Oh, that looks cool. That one's boring, right? Just go down the whole list, one at a time, and open in a tab each one you like. Then you're going to go back once you have all your tabs open. And you're going to look at the names. And you're going to see how few in the beginning of the list you clicked on and how many at the end of the list you clicked on. It's going to be disproportionate. You're then going to notice you probably clicked on only streams with cameras on them. You're probably also realizing you clicked on more streams with cameras on them where you could see the expression the person was making than ones in the camera where you just have an avatar or can't even make out what kind of a person it is.
Right.
You're probably then going to realize you clicked on a stream that doesn't have too many minute details in it. Too many little tiny things. Like, if you look at this screen on a thumbnail, it's like, okay, chat, 2 people, title.
Yeah.
Right?
And they're both smiling. Again, we can see our expressions.
Right. But if you look at a stream where they have every BTTV plugin and OBS Streamlabs plugin and bits redemptions and every other bell and whistle going on, it's all these tiny little things just like crap. Like, it looks like a snowstorm, right? You can't even figure out what's going on in the stream. And maybe you clicked on that because you like those kinds of things.
Right.
Or maybe you're like, I don't even know what that is, not even going to open it, right? And that's going to teach you something about yourself and what maybe you look for in streams and what you want people looking for in your stream.
Right.
Right? Like, ooh, love that thumbnail. Wish my thumbnails looked like that. Or dang, I hope my thumbnail never looks like that. Right? So just run that experiment. Open the tab, go from lowest to highest. Open in tab each one you want to check out. You don't have to actually go in and say hi or whatever, but
right. And
then just go over your list and see what the commonalities are.
And I think that is a good experiment, and people try to dilute that, I think. They try to say, well, it's not essential that they have whatever, or it's not essential that they do this thing. And it's like, but they're not essential. That's correct. But I think that at a certain tier, to get to the next tier, it is essential that you do those things. Like, if you never address your chat, you will only ever get so far. Like, you will max out your tier, and that will be the end of that. That will, because people will stop talking in the chat. Your chat will be non-existent. And so it's just things like that where I think people say, well, it's okay if I don't have this or I don't have this. Yes, there are things that you don't need. There are plenty of things, like you said, Twitch extensions, BTTV, whatever else it is that you have crammed into your experience. There are things that you do not need, but I do think that when push comes to shove, and maybe that's just dependent on what tier you want to get to, is to which one of those things you incorporate on a daily basis. But I think, again, the from the outside looking in, there's going to be a lot of thumbnails that look pretty darn similar. Which, there's commonalities in things that are successful. There's also maybe, the platform that we're on and the game that we're streaming, there's just certain places that you can put your webcam that makes sense. There's just certain, like by the definitions, some of those might look the same, but yeah, I totally get it. And I don't advise that many new streamers that much. You probably get way more of that with your sort of FAQ sessions and sort of ask me anything stuff.
Yeah.
But I appreciate that there's someone out there that's like, you should probably just go do some research instead of turning on your stream and just pretending like it's going to happen for you.
I mean, I picked marbles because at the time it was wide open. If I was looking for games right now to get into, I probably wouldn't pick marbles. Right. And that's
what do you see that's hot right now?
I'm waiting.
That matches you,
Yeah, I would wait for like a really good open world game, like another Don't Starve.
Okay.
That's probably what I would go for.
I could see that. Because it's, I agree. And my problem is I feel like my game pool is fairly slim because of the things that I want to do on my stream. I want to be a person with the chat. I want to, provide entertainment as well as the game doing its thing. So I don't know. It's slim. I don't have another game right now. I don't.
Yeah.
I mean, I stream Fortnite for the memes. Really, I do it just for the content, and because it's so accessible. Just like marbles, it's so accessible.
Yeah.
You can download it for free on every console there is. So, but that's sort of where I'm at.
So, with marbles, you got to have a plan at this point in the game. You can do it if you want it. You can do it.
Yeah, nobody's stumbling their way to the top.
Yeah.
Nobody's stumbling their way to the top.
So, yeah. I think that does it.
I had a good time.
I had a great time. We'll open up to Q&A with chat in just a bit.
Ooh.
But first, we got to finish out this episode. Thank you all for watching. If you're watching on YouTube, much appreciated. Unfortunately, that means you can't watch the Q&A because we do that live every Saturday here on this channel. Twitch.tv/TrensTV. FinalRossBattle, thank you so much for being here. It's been delightful chatting.
It's been a blast.
Didn't even get to everything. I still got 3 more questions to ask you. Maybe I'll save those for afterwards.
Well, when we're doing our 24 hours of pachinko also. But really, though, folks, I don't know if you were taking notes, but I think that is one thing that should come from this is I think we should dig into that for sure.
Yep.
And Warrior Wednesday stuff.
Yeah.
But
I was going to say, you haven't even
Zombie
promote,
Tag.
but we've already talked about Zombie Tag and Warrior Wednesday and Dice Masters.
There you go. We've hit it all, folks.
Check it out. We both have weekly streams sponsored by the studio.
Woo!
It's good stuff.
Thank you, studio.
Thank you, studio. Good peeps. Thank y'all for watching. We'll see you next week. Next week is going to be the first live episode.
That's right. Z is coming on for a true Between Two Ferns experience. Huh?
Maybe. Thank y'all for watching. We'll see you next week.
Say bye.